Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Natives in America podcast. I'm your host Benjamin Juan, and with me as always is Sky Antone. Tonight's episode is actually about, it comes off to me like we've covered quite a few subjects, but we start off and it's really just like an update. I think in this episode is the very first time we even mentioned COVID-19, and I think it's good that we at least started talking about it, and I think what I've been hoping for is we cover it a little more in depth, and I think we do in later episodes. But for now, this one we got a little bit of a short episode. It's a little over 60 minutes, and like I said, hey, where was I? Okay, so. It's a shorter episode. We're talking about. Hold on, I gotta turn down this freaking mic. It's really loud. So we're basically updating. I'm gonna call it the update episode. And basically, what we're doing is we're updating what's going on with us. And I didn't re-listen to the whole thing. I think we're up to 19 episodes now, maybe 18. I don't know where now. But this is episode 5, and we begin just talking about what's going on with us. We touch a little bit on COVID. We very lightly touch on a little bit of race, on what's going on, the riots, and then we carry on from there. So this is a little weird episode, and I think at the end, this is one of those episodes I warned you about. It gets cut off in the end, but I think by the time it gets cut off, we'd already covered what we wanted, what we came to cover. So. Don't worry your pretty little heads about missing anything. You're not missing anything. This one we were ready to call it quits. Again, the photo, I got to give credit to, it's another Ronnie James photo. Anybody who lives out down south, they're going to recognize this right away. So, again, Ronnie James is on Instagram. You can look up Ronnie James or at Ronnie James, and you can check out more of his artwork. And I'm sure... as I've been talking with him, that we've been discussing bringing a lot more on. Also, in the last episode when I did an intro for Sky, and I was trying to introduce his writing, and I talked to him about it later, and he's like, oh, it's older writing, but I still think you should go check it out. You know, I'm trying to get us all hooked up, get us all, interacting with our audience. So the one mistake I made was it was Stories from My Stomach, but it's .wordpress.com. I think I said it was just straight up .com. So if you guys want to check out a little bit, it's not a little bit, it's a lot of bit of Sky's writing. And he says it's out of date now, like which, I'll let you guys all be the judge of that. He's got a massive library of writing, and you guys can check it out, get into his stuff, and then maybe come back onto our website here on the I think it's Reservation Radio Network. Just come around and interact with us. We're definitely open to comments on the videos, messaging on our message board. Like, I think it's all empty right now. I haven't gone through to like truly develop our website because we're still kind of in the beginning process, and me and Sky haven't had a chance to sit down after hours. I think this past weekend we got to sit down, and I thought we were going to do another recording, like one where we were finally in person. It didn't sound like a freaking X-rated song, but instead it's we just kick back. Like, it's kind of how we do on the weekends. Like, we're trying not to work. Neither of us. He works all week. I work all week. And when we sat down, I thought we'd hit another video. I think we even talked about hitting another video, but when we did hang out, we just stopped. Same way we do on these podcasts, we're talking. So I think that was the basis for what started us off from the beginning. So this episode, I'm just going to call it the update episode. This is episode number 5 of the Natives in America podcast. Once again, thank you for tuning in, guys. Keep on listening, and if you're not already already following us, please do so. Set up a YouTube profile if you have to. Hit the notifications so that every time we release an episode, which is supposed to be every week, you'll get a notification, and I don't got to keep sending out links. You can just get it right to your phone, right to your computer, whatever it is that you use to go online. And please enjoy this episode and all the ones that come after it. And like I said, we got about 18, maybe 19 weeks worth of podcasts, and I think we're just going to keep going. I mean, that's probably the biggest commitment I've made in a long time is showing up every week and sitting down to record. Whether we put them online, in the beginning we didn't, and now we are. Now you can start following us. So thanks once again. Thanks for tuning in, and please keep tuning back in so that you can get in on what we're doing here. And like I said, we're completely open to comments, anything like that. Feel free to comment on the webpage. And from here on, I think we're going to start slowly adding more content so that basically we want to interact with the people. We want to have like a real nice little website going on. And I just hope you guys enjoy what you're listening to. So once again, episode 5, Natives in America podcast. Welcome back. Please enjoy the episode. All right, bye-bye. All right, we're recording here.
Bet.
Alright. So, once again, we start this episode off with with no previous talk between us about what we're gonna go with. But I think so far it's worked out, right?
Yeah. I haven't heard any of it, so I can't.
Yeah, right. Okay. I've been thinking that. I think one part that's been missing is review. You know what I mean?
Review?
Yeah, like you review it, I review it, and then we come back and be like, all right, this is what we need to do. Because as far as I know, we're recording it about as best we can, like the quality.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just more like, we did it, we've done it a few times, so it's like, where's the product?
Yeah, okay. Well, you've already given me your email. I'm gonna have to do, I guess that's what it comes down to, is I'm gonna have to break the SD card out after this and transfer them to my laptop. And once I got them on my laptop, I'll just send them to you.
Alright. Yeah, I mean, I was just sending you random things. I didn't make anything just for, like, oh, this is what I want the sound to be, but the first ones I sent you were just like the latest, but this last one it was actually like, it was an old one I found that it just came out, and then, but I don't know, I just kind of wanted to show it to those Isaiah and them and kind of have an idea.
Yeah.
So I just sent it to you just to send it because I was sending them the track, so I said I'm sending it to Bob too.
That's what's up. I liked what I've heard. Like it certainly has. Like you were saying, you were using loops.
Yeah, that's all it is.
But even then, it still kind of. It still has your. I don't know what you call that. It still has like your flavor to it. I can hear you in it, like from the music I've heard you play.
Yeah, I mean it's the loops, but I tweak with the sounds and stuff. So
yeah.
I don't know. So what's up? How was your week, or how's the middle of your week going so far?
Man, I think like COVID hasn't hit me yet. I don't think, but we're getting less and less people working where I work, the hardware store that I work at. They're fuck, I still did that again. I always forget to turn this shit off. Where was I? Oh yeah, well, people are disappearing. I'm not saying they're dying. I'm just saying like they're calling out. They're taking time off. They're not comfortable coming to work. So what we're ending up with is like we're understaffed. So people are getting a little stressed out. You know, we're butting a few heads. I'm actually being pulled out of outside garden and being put inside to help with freight, and it's kind of like I don't mind helping, but it's really not my job. Like that shit is not my department. Like I think the main reason I came back to a job like this is so I could run the forklift, and to have it to have that taken away. Like once I'm inside working freight, I'm just working with my hands. I'm down there like I work with my hands either way, but what I'm saying is it's just that. And I don't really like that. Like I like being on the forklift most of the night. I like figuring out space and height and like, you know, deciding what I have room for, what I don't, and then working with that and building like a plan of attack. And it's really independent. I like working independently. Like I kind of like writing my own ticket, and that's kind of being taken away from me because we're so short-staffed. So that kind of sucks. I'm being affected in kind of like a weird sideways way because of COVID. So that's where I'm at.
I feel you. That was like with me, like before COVID started. You know, I just mastered like how to run groups with kids. And then, you know, that was sort of like my specialty as far as like it was something that, you know, there was kids there. You know, that's kind of how you measure your success, if they're actually coming, you know.
Yeah, they want to show up.
And when COVID started, and now it's no groups and it's just phone calls.
Yeah,
it's like I kind of had to refigure out how to get back in contact. And I know it don't sound difficult, but it's like I miss actually being there in the class, in the group room, you know, chilling with the kids. And now it's like trying to keep them interested on the phone, which is not as fun, you know.
like we're doing right now.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess it's the space you had versus the space you kind of had to give up, I guess.
Yeah. It's changed your environment.
Very. Yeah,
so are you having like group phone calls, or are you doing individual?
Both.
So you can still run a group, but they're all phoning it in?
It's not really a group. It's more like a group phone call. It's kind of. And it's usually just because they're both there, or. Limited on certain things.
Yeah. Well, another on the subject of what's going on, I got word today from my baby's mama saying, and she said what's up to you too.
For real?
She said, tell Sky I said what's up.
Cool.
Yeah, right. Damn it. She told me today, and I guess it's been going on, but like I don't really watch the news. Like it's just upsetting these days. I don't really.
Yeah, I quit watching it.
Yeah, I can't keep track because it just pisses me off. Makes me sad. Kind of makes me worry. So I haven't been tracking it, but according to her, and I guess it's been going on. I didn't know it. The National Guard has been deployed, or maybe they thought they had been, she was saying that protesters were being attacked in Seattle or in Washington. Let's say Washington, somewhere up there. I believe it's Seattle, but somewhere up in Washington. And it turns out there were people in military uniforms, but they weren't the military. They weren't National Guard. Supposedly they were like CIA operatives, CIA staff. I don't know what the hell you would call that. But they were like government. I don't want to say soldiers. I feel like the way she described it sounded like they were more like mercenaries, but they did work for the government. And they were attacking protesters. Now, if you want to get into this, we can start looking into that, like looking up videos and seeing what we see. But I don't know. That's just something to, keep your ear out for. I guess people were really pissed off about it. They're like, "Oh, what the hell's going on?" And turns out they were, government agents, and there's talk of them going to other places. And I guess it's wherever there's rioting. And the large bit of rioting right now is up in Minneapolis, where George Floyd was killed. And I'm a little worried because Linus is up there.
Yeah.
Like, he's doing his thing, community watch and whatnot. And I'm just kind of... I'm sure he'll be okay. He's got a good head on his shoulders, but, he can't always control shit. And I'm a little worried about him.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I never even had that thought in my mind.
Oh, shit.
I mean, as far as someone we know, getting caught up in, like, all of that, because it's going on, and I think it's kind of spotty in the United States, like where stuff's actually really fucked up, and it seems like Arizona is. Well, I mean, we're still fucked up, but we're. I don't know if the lockdown controlled any of that, but I mean.
Yeah, we did get locked down.
In other states, it's. It's what is it? As they said, protesting or looting or any kind of like violence it's just like, I don't know, all this stuff that's like that can't be said. It has to be acted out. But
what?
I mean, not backing down, and like if you start a protest, but yeah, there's people that are kind of like, there just to fuck it up, or
yeah.
I don't know. It's like there's so many different perspectives in the. Not so much the rioting, because it seems like it starts off as protesting and then suddenly and maybe that's what the media does. They call it a riot, but it's really just like that, like people fucking. I don't know. It's not. I don't want to say it's not even being. I don't know. It's so. Is that racial? Like, is that hatred, or is it just like so patriotic? That you're. I don't know. Seems like not to say I don't know how to feel on the whole subject, but it's like just for who I identify as. It's like I'm still in the mix.
Yeah.
So it's not like I don't know. It's I guess it's really happening, and sometimes it feels like I stay cold-hearted to it because it's, like I'm still doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, besides the masks and that whole lockdown and how they tried to open up and then close back down, that's kind of all I've been seeing. That's our only exposure, it feels like. Now, I haven't gone out, and there have been protests here, and I haven't gone out to go join in. But it's like, it feels like it's not even happening. And the only time I feel like I'm connected to it is when I turn on a TV or, go online and start reading the highlights, That's when it starts feeling real. It starts feeling like I'm connected and like it's actually happening. Because like I said, like all I'm seeing are the masks. And people are kind of, the buying habit has kind of changed at work. Like they're just buying everything, whatever they can get their hands on, or at least in my department. And I feel disconnected from it. Because even then, like I don't see the people. I work overnight, so I come in and, I just see the devastation, like things that were completely full and the shelves look stocked. I come in and it's just, bare. And then I got to go through and restock it. So it's almost like chasing ghosts, like I'm there after the fact. So me personally, I'm really don't feel exposed to any of this. And a lot of times it's like I'm walking into the store like it's any other night. But then, I pass somebody who's got a mask on and I'm like, oh yeah, this is going on.
Yeah. I mean...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there's like a lot of ways to help and protest, and it's like, I don't know. It's just, you wonder how long it's going to go on for. But
shit,
because like I see, I guess, it's not revenge. It feels like revenge, but then
what do you mean by that?
I don't know.
Who's revenge?
I used that word wrong. I think it's more like, do we want revenge or do we want justice? Because it's like in war, it's never ending. It's like you hit me, I'll hit you. We'll go back and forth until we're dead.
Yeah.
But like protesting, you usually have something to stand on, but like it's gone to the point where people are just fed up.
Yeah.
They just don't give a fuck.
Well, as far as the revenge aspect, are you talking about George Floyd, or are you talking about just what's going on in general?
No, just I guess the.
So you're talking about like the protests over
social injustice, or just
okay,
race. How we categorize ourselves, or how we're a part of a system that has this thing going on,
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been to any other country, so I can't say in Italy or in Europe they do it different. I mean,
yeah.
But I mean, maybe not. Maybe because I'm not a history buff, but like in 100 years from now, we're gonna look back and see all this shit. And will it have gotten any better? Because it's like that. Do we really want justice or do we really want the same thing for everybody, or is it constantly gonna be a race, a literal race between like, I guess like that, like how we categorize each other.
Yeah.
Or how we split each other up.
Well, racism is very much alive. A lot of times, I fooled myself in believing like, oh, that it's the 21st century.
Yeah, bro.
Like, oh, we're grown up and beyond that. And then shit like this happens, and it's like, yeah, I guess not.
Yeah.
It's easy to feel that way because, we've been alive as long as we have now. And it's like, all right, time has passed. And when we were kids, we felt modern. And then now, 20, 30 years later, we're that much more modern. And then shit like this goes on, and it's just like, okay, nothing's really changed. There's a bunch of stupid people out there going, being offended for you. But, like people going overboard, going, oh, that's racist. Oh, you can't be like that. When really, it's not their job to do that. It's more like, I don't know what point I'm making. I'm just saying, it still goes on, People still have those beliefs. It's very much alive, the inferiority of other races because of the color of their skin, or maybe where they're from.
Yeah.
And I mean, how do you combat that? How do you stop something like that? I think we've touched on the subject a couple times, or like I've said back in the technology part about us never getting anywhere while we're still apart. And we very much are. I mean, country-wise, we're hella far apart. We don't really recognize ourselves as humans. It's more like, all right, I'm Russian, I'm American, I'm European, I'm African, I'm from Australia, like, and we are very unique, peoples from different countries, but at the same time, we're human.
Yeah.
And, so again, it goes back to that stigma. There's a misunderstanding between people, and it's just enough for people to hold true to their prejudices and their beliefs, whether it's their beliefs or maybe their parents' beliefs. It's still there and it's still strong. And then we end up with shit like this, people being killed for their race, or maybe not even being killed all the way, but just being held to a different standard, or being hurt because they are who they are, or they look how they look.
Yeah.
You want to do the magic wand deal, and like what do you think? What do you think that we could do, either as a country or as the world, to thwart or cut back or even eliminate racism?
I don't know. That's I mean, I think there's a drastic, but I know that wouldn't be a thing because, I mean, like, everybody should be proud of where they come from, who they are.
Yeah.
So, almost that's a lot of it gets tied to race on how you identify. So it's kind of like,
and culture.
So I wouldn't want to say, but I'm just saying, like, if everybody could just not so much identify with something, but just everybody relate to something else, to where it's not you're this, I'm that.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's not a original idea, but I think concept of like, because I think there's actually people that like don't either want to say it's a problem, or maybe so caught up in another world to where they don't recognize it as a big deal.
Yeah.
But like, you know, everybody has to be all on the same page. So it's like if there was a way we could just like not so much erase history, but restructure how we operate. Like,
Yeah.
not so much saying we're this or we're that. It's like, what are we all? I mean, again, like what you said, like we're all human beings, but I don't know. We have such a dark history, you know,
Yeah.
to where we almost like we belittle, or I don't want to say but I mean, there was hate.
There's blood, man. Still on the streets.
Yeah.
Still
So
in the
it's-
soil. Everywhere you go.
I mean, so is that? Are you unable to undo that? Because I don't know. I guess it's you know, living on the res. You know, everybody kind of identifies as being from here. You know,
Yeah.
so a lot of my times are. It's not always something. And I think again that's why I'm not fully in tune with it, because I'm maybe tuning it out because, you know, we're not rioting here. You know, we're just trying to stay like trying not to get the fucking COVID. You know, so
Yeah.
it's I don't want to say I'm avoiding it, but it's just what else is it gonna take, you know? So
Yeah.
I just think if there's a way where everybody can kind of check something off to where that's me.
Well, I got an idea. I think it's gonna come down to fucking. Now let me explain that.
How so?
So
I mean,
everybody's got their race, right? Everybody, you know, they're like, oh, I'm 3/4 this, I'm whatever, I'm full blood of this, and that's their identity too, right?
yeah. So
What happens when one race person has sex with somebody from a different race? They now have a beautiful little mixed baby, right? Like me, I'm half white, half native. I'm a beautiful thing.
I mean,
But what I'm saying is, if we all just start fucking each other, we're gonna start mixing it and mixing the bloodlines. Till sooner or later, you won't be able to tell any of us apart. We'll all just be kind of like a special kind of brown or something, you know. we'll all have the same color tone on a long enough timeline, you know, like. That can't happen overnight, but on a long enough timeline, we're all just gonna be this like dull off-white color, and then we'll
I don't
all be
know,
one race.
'cause that's what's happening. I mean, that's been happening.
No, it's happening, but it's at a slow rate. Like
so
I
you're
think it's
saying
funny.
a lot,
Like if you consider dogs like purebred dogs.
yeah.
The ones that are alive today, the ones where people are trying to keep them purebred, and they keep breeding
like
them with their own, and breeding them with
German
their
Shepherd
own.
or something.
Yeah. Well, a
Yeah.
purebred German Shepherd is gonna have a lot of fucking problems. It's gonna be, you know, weakly and sickly, and have all these health issues because there's only there's only so many options for the DNA to recombine to create something new and fresh. I guess outcomes or cells, and so like I'm saying is if everybody tries to stay purebred, their races could become weaker and weaker, and like kind of prone to illness and sickness and disease. So,
Yeah.
you know, over time, if we're all having sex with each other's and, you know, going and visiting other countries and fucking each other's and, you know, come back to your country or whatever, you have a baby. You had a little brown in the mix, a little black here or there, a little white, you know, a little Mexican. Sorry if I'm not calling out your race, whoever's listening. But I think that might be what it comes down to. And that would probably take a long timeline. But what I'm saying is, like, there's a bunch of really mixed up mutt dogs out there on the res. You know, they're just a mix of whatever kind of dog you got. All these res dogs having sex with res dogs. They're all types of different kinds of interbreeded mixes of dog, and they're fucking survivors. They're doing perfectly fine. They're doing well. They're healthy and they're vibrant. They don't look too well. They look like a rough ass dog, but they're perfectly healthy and they're able to combat disease and you know, whatever comes along. They're surviving on the res. Whereas, you know, if there was like a purebred whatever out there, it'd be fucking dying in the street. I don't know where I was going with that. I was just saying, like, I think on a long enough timeline, people are gonna have so much sex that all the bloodlines, you know,
don't got that much time, man.
I know, but what I'm saying is everybody's gonna have a Cherokee princess grandma, you know, or whatever, a Nubian princess grandma, you know.
What do you mean?
It won't. You know how everybody goes around like, oh, I got my great grandmother's a Cherokee princess.
Yeah,
For once, it might actually be true. You know,
but
further down the road,
I think
everybody will be 16 this, 16 that, 16 and whatever.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of where that could be problematic because, you know, that concept is so, like, when people say that shit, it's not even accurate. Cause, I mean, first of all, there's no princesses in native. At least I've never, you know. But I guess it's sort of. It's just kind of makes fun of that whole idea. Because I think that's where.
Well, that's why it sounds so annoying when you hear it, but you know.
No, but I think if we weren't humans, then that might work. But we always say that, like, to be real, we gotta we gotta know our culture, we gotta know where we come from. Wouldn't that get in the way? I mean, it's already. I mean, let me ask you this: like, since I don't have kids, so I can't answer. But like, when you're like thinking about raising, you know, your child, are you like, you kind of have a list of what he needs to? You feel like he should know, like, kind of. In the cultural aspect,
I think about shit like that. I was thinking about earlier today, not about knowing his history, but of what to teach him and when. I think that's a big one. Like, when do I start this crap? Like, not sooner than later. How much will he retain now? Like, I have certain memories. I don't know if it was ever when I was 3, but I'm thinking about what to expose him to. Like, if we're just talking in general, I want him to be a nice, polite, caring kid that, you know, at the same time won't take any shit from any fucking bullies. Which, you know, that's a hard mix to pull off. And then, at the same time, I was wondering about the culture. Like, all right, they always say dads or parents try to live through their kids, live the life they couldn't have through their kids. So, like, I'm definitely working with my anger. I don't want to be angry like my dad or as angry. And at the same time, I'm drinking, but I don't want to be shit-faced in front of him like my dad was. And, like, that's the general gist is, I want to do better than my dad did for me. Like, I think that's everybody's thought is, what can I do to be better than what my parents did? Like, wherever I felt they went wrong is where I'll improve. And for me, we didn't speak the O'odham language at home. And unfortunately, that leads to us not speaking it now in his home. So I would like to press him to go to learn it, because I didn't start speaking O'odham until I went to school and we had classes. And Miss Enos's class, we'd be singing in O'odham. And if I could get him to be exposed to that, that'd be great. But I think as far as possibility goes, like the chances I have that are kind of playing against me now, because I'm older and I still haven't learned fully the language. Like, I'm still based on classroom language versus out in the real world when you're talking to our elders or whatever. Like, speaking in O'odham and having a real conversation, a fluent conversation.
Yeah.
When I think about how seriously the realm of possibilities is or are for him learning the language, it's probably a fat chance that he will, unless he grows up and wants to learn it, or if I get him to spend time with somebody who does speak the language. It's definitely not me, or maybe I could learn alongside with him. So there's that. I'm thinking of what's realistic. And what I'm saying is, it's not so much realistic that I could teach him the language, but one thing I can definitely teach him is a love of the land and knowing that he belongs there. That, and for me, that's always kept me grounded as, all right, I'm native because I belong here. My descendants were here first, or maybe previously, like they were here on the land. Like, we were lucky enough to be one of the tribes that didn't get horribly removed from their ancestral land.
Yeah,
we were lucky in that regard. And so that's how I've always tied into the religion or the tribe, the culture, is that religion, I can't believe I called it that. How I always tied myself to the tribe was the land. And I participated in traditional practices like baithach picking, which I don't suppose was for men, but that's something that I can realistically teach my son.
Men pick baithach.
Huh?
Men pick baithach.
Okay, I just whatever depictions I've ever seen of it was the women. But yeah.
You're just thinking of the paintings.
Yeah. Well, what else is there, really? Like, really?
I don't know. Nowadays, there's social media, because I saw somebody post a pretty cool TikTok though. Them opening up a baithach, and it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, I know what you're saying.
Whether it's men or women really isn't the point. It's there are practices that still go on today, and I'd be happy to expose them to that. But the best way that I could pass on the feeling that I have and the pride and love of where I am and belonging to something, it's here. And it's not just the ancestral land, but it's also the country. And I belong to the land belongs to me feeling. That's what I've always gone to, and that's what I can pass on.
Yeah.
Now, as that pertains to what we've been talking about, racism and people being separated, that might compound the issue. I don't want to say that we can't, destroy racism and only be able to do that by letting go of our traditions, because that's not what I want. I don't want that for anybody, to just completely lose either the language or the traditions or the culture, the stories, the people. But somewhere down the line, maybe we're hitting on that issue now. It's like you want to hold true to your origin while at the same time find common ground with somebody from some other origin. And I think it's like prejudice and the belief of superiority that tends to get in the way, like ego.
Yeah.
Like people look at another people and go, oh, well, that's how they are, and what I'm doing is better than that, and they'd be better off if they had what I had, or I'd be better off if we keep them from having what I have. And as long as that kind of crap's going on, as long as that's common practice and common belief, the gap or the walls, let's say the walls between people will always be up.
Yeah.
Damn it, I had a second thought as I was talking, and I wanted to hit on that too. All right.
Yeah, no, that's a...
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I made me forget what I was gonna say.
Nice.
But yeah,
So I was talking about the walls. That holding to our differences might be putting up the walls, or the belief in superiority. That's what I was talking about.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's like, how do you remain true to who you are, but still openly let something foreign collaborate with, I guess, feeling, I don't know, it's not so much feeling included or feeling like left out, or even just wanting to be treated fair. Like,
yeah,
in general, sometimes it seems like we're fucking haters. Human beings are haters. Like when we get nervous, or man, maybe I'm just talking out of my ass or talking about myself, but sometimes we do get, we see something and it questions our own self-esteem, and,
yeah.
But that's kind of a internal thing, to where you let something internal sort of come out on the open, and it's something really mean and dark, and yet it's all just, again, an issue that needs to be fixed inside you, rather than trying to separate another type of someone maybe you're not identifying with or something. So, but I mean, because we talk shit, we
yeah.
I mean, even if we're joking, there's still I mean, not everybody. I mean, we don't do that to everybody, but it's just, it feels like there's always some negativity.
Yeah.
And how we conduct ourselves. But I'm not trying to say like we need to be more perfect or something. It's just,
No.
I wonder what it is I'm trying to explain, because is it because you identify with this race, your ego can go up here, but like if I don't know, it's just there's so many different dynamics to it, because
Yeah.
I mean I guess you can't say everybody is this if they identify as that. But it seems like that's the rules we go by in our head. I don't know, man. It's like the passed down trauma, like that we're still upholding, like we're still.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that before, was the intergenerational trauma.
Yes.
Something that kind of remains and you carry it with you. That could actually be a bridge, or maybe a stopgap to understanding. Is that we're not the only ones who have ever hurt. Somebody who understands hurt may be able to understand someone else's hurt.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking about, we were talking about ego, and there's an issue. There's a little bit of an issue with remaining an individual, like holding to your culture. Maybe that's a complete opposite to individualism. If you're holding on to your people, but try this on for size. Maybe racism isn't really the product, or maybe we're labeling the wrong thing racism. Maybe racism's more about hatred, and people taking action based off of that hatred with the sole purpose of hurting somebody else, or causing, I guess, pain. I guess that whole part doesn't need to be defined, but what I'm saying is, when hatred actually shows its face, because us talking about, I want to belong to the land, or I want to uphold the traditions, or I want to teach my kid something that makes him know who he is. Maybe the actual problem is hatred, and all we've talked about right now really doesn't involve hatred, or intent to hurt. I think it's really when people start taking action to actively hurt people based off of race or religion, and then I guess we're talking race right now, and so talking action or saying words that are hurtful, I mean that's the true issue, isn't it? Like not being a traditionalist, not being proud of your culture, not knowing who you are, but really pointing it outward and using it as a weapon. Like if you start going, oh well, this other person, they should be this or that because my shit's better than that. Like it's when you start putting it on other people, pointing the finger, fucking whatever, in whatever form that appears. It seems like it involves hate and bigotry and prejudice. It's like a negativity, and it really, like people, part of the whole freedom kind of thing going on here is being able to have your own beliefs and not being persecuted for it, right?
Yeah.
Well, that includes hateful people and how they
Yeah.
feel about other people. And sure, they can have hate. No problem with that. They can have their prejudices and their feelings. No problem. It's when that line crosses into making it someone else's problem. When you start drawing blood out of other people or making people feel sorry for themselves or feeling pain from what they hear or see, or what happens to them based off of somebody taking their hate or their prejudices and doing something active about it, actively acting on it with the intention to hurt. You know what I'm getting at? Like, I feel like I'm just carving into wood here, and I'm trying to find what I'm looking for. But what I'm saying is there's no problem with prejudice. There's no problem with the hate. It's an issue, but hey, have your hate, no problem. You want to be hateful, you want to be prejudiced, go for it. Just don't put it on me. Don't expose me to it and make my day be shitty. Have all the shitty you want, but keep it to yourself. I don't want to take that onto my load. I don't want to carry that. I don't know. I don't know what I'm getting at here.
Well, I mean, we live in a world now where we share everything with everybody, and we also promote, thinking for yourself and speaking. It's in the rights and the Constitution, whatever, blah blah blah. But it's like, do you really need to go out of your way to cause harm or inflict negative energy on someone that you can't relate to, or can't identify with? Or did we get past that, or is that what you're talking about?
That's what I'm getting at. That's what I was getting at. It's just it becomes an issue when somebody goes out and just starts hurting people in whatever form they do it.
Man, I don't know. I guess it's like we're talking about, like, what is hate, or what is?
Is that what we're doing? Like, I don't know.
No, I mean, is that what everything? Is that what we're seeing now? Is this just hatred?
Oh.
Just the fires, the riots, is it just hatred?
I hate to go into conspiracy theories and all that, but every now and then I let it kind of creep into my mind, and just for a second I go, I try to validate it in my mind. Like, hell, is that even possible? Like, what would be the point of that? And I sometimes wonder if it's like people are always saying it's an inside job. Oh, the government did this. I've allowed myself to think on occasion, like the virus breaking out, like there have been scenarios written by the government saying this is a way we can cause people to be afraid. And as you know, as we all know, fear is the key to getting bills passed. Getting people afraid allows the government to get things done, start wars, invest in certain things, and damn it, I need to fix that. I think it's my regular alarm for work. So yeah, I'm not expressing this very well. I've allowed myself to think about, you know, is this civil unrest fueled by what's going on? Has it been set up? And I don't know. Like sometimes we're doing really well, and sometimes we're just falling apart. You know, we're barely keeping it together.
Oh, yeah.
And then something horrible happens, and we all kind of pull together, and we're like, "Oh, we're Americans." Like, "Oh, we're this, we're that." Hey, neighbor, you know, spreading some love with your neighbor, and then over time, we start pulling apart again. You know, and I think what's going on right now is a whole bunch of people, like our uniting factor is that we're all sick of the bullshit. And I think that's what the rioting is. It's civil unrest. I really think the fucking government is out of control. Like it's abusing its power and hurting the people at wide. Not any race of people. Well, you know, some heavier than others, but you know, we're all in this boat in this big ass ocean, surrounded by all kinds of different countries with different views than our own, and it's when we're getting crushed by our own government that's supposed to be there to protect us. People get sick and they get tired and they start. It's almost like we start going back on our animal instincts.
Yeah, survival mode.
We're going. Yeah, exactly. We're going into survival mode, and that's a little more instinctual. It's a little more animalistic, and as the riots have shown, it's a little more violent and explosive. And, you know, that's interesting in of itself. Is when the civility leaves, we're left with our instincts. When we no longer talk peaceably, or you know, as if we're equals, when we no longer come to the meeting table together to discuss the issues or to take care of our people, whatever race they are, when we stop showing up to the table to talk and we just start pulling apart and pointing fingers and choking people to death and shooting people and all that, like once we stop showing up to the table, like fucking chaos ensues. The animal part of us takes over.
Yeah.
We take a side seat to negotiations and peaceful protests and peaceful talks. So,
yeah. This is that quote I was looking for earlier, but it's a riot is the language of the unheard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's almost like acting out how you feel inside.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the funny thing about that, I've been in relationships where when I feel like I'm talking to a wall, I've said that too specifically, is I feel like I'm talking to a wall. Whenever I'm, you know, trying to say my piece or say something is what it is and not something else, and I feel like I'm not being heard, I tend to raise my voice and I start yelling. And the problem with that is nobody likes being yelled at. once you start getting yelled at, you start shutting down and you start closing up, and doesn't matter what that person says, they're just yelling at you, and that's it. That's the end of the discussion. That's game over, basically. And like you said with the quote, riots are the language of the unheard. Yeah. I've been there. I think you hit it on the nose there.
Well, that was Martin Luther King Jr., not me.
Well, yeah. But you brought it into the conversation here, and
yeah,
I think we're really touching on is that we're unheard.
That's love is a battlefield.
Oh. Just start quoting everybody.
Well, I mean, it's all sort of like, what drives you to that point.
Yeah.
To where you have to not yell, but get into motion, or I don't know. I think that's where we can go left instead of right. It's where we have all this energy and we put it into the negativity, opposed to just making some minor adjustments and putting it towards something that's gonna empower you versus something you gotta deal with, even something you might even regret, Well, but I think this is a good point to kind of go somewhere else with
the talk here.
Yeah. So ever since I was pretty much growing up, my mom has pretty much she didn't force us to be into aliens, but she definitely believed in them, so we kind of just were always kind of into them. But she tells us the story of back in the day, they went on a road trip somewhere, or they're on the road somewhere, and the car that they had was it had a reverse seat, the back seat was facing outward. So if you were sitting in the back, you were looking out, and my mom, they're on this road trip, and my mom is in the back seat looking out, and she starts to see something in the sky, and she says it looks like a moon, and I think they thought it was the moon, and they're all the kids in the car are all look at the moon, and my grandma, whoever's driving the adults, they're like, what are you talking about, the moon's up here? And the real moon was actually, you only could see it through the front seat, through the front. And what my mom and all her brothers and sisters were looking at were, I don't know what the fuck. So they started going on the road, driving where they're going, and they're like, look at this, and it starts to, I don't know if they said it's following them, or if they're just freaking out because they're seeing two different moons, but constantly we were told that story, and my mom's she's pretty for sure it was a UFO or an alien. And so,
all right, brother, hold up. Two things here. First of all, the battery's about to die on this shit. But when you said let's go another direction, man, you took it way in a way other different direction. This was like our original plan, right? It was to talk
Yeah.
aliens, and then we wound up talking about racism.
Got pretty deep in that.
Yeah, we dove right in. We already put an hour into that. I don't think I could start a whole other conversation about aliens, especially with the battery about to die. I think we should call it there, and if you want to continue talking about aliens, we should start this over.
Let's just end it on that.
I'll turn the machine off and put some batteries in, and we'll start the alien conversation.
When today or?
Let's start the alien conversation on like next week.
Okay.
Like let's say that's what we're gonna talk about, and then we'll look some stuff up, and we'll do some research, and we'll continue with your story. I'm just saying, that any second now, this thing's gonna die, and it's late in the game for me to start on another subject because I'm like an hour away from going into work right now. So let's call it there. You know, we covered racism and, you know, a little bit of what's going on right now in our lives. And I felt like we dove pretty good in it, and we reached the point where, you know, we just start mumbling and saying whatever, you know, we got to that point. We've exhausted the conversation, right?
That was pretty heavy.
Yeah, it was really heavy, maybe a little too heavy. But, you know, that's the risk that we're taking here. So yeah, if you have any last words to say, like, hopefully you'll get to say it. You want to say anything else on the subject before we call it quits?
No. I mean, I thought we weren't going to talk about the aliens that long, but.
Well,
but did you have a lot of content?
I've got books and podcasts that I've been listening to, and I watched the Impossible Channel online, and man, I could talk for days about aliens. So,
what'd you think of that story?
About seeing moons?
Yeah.
That were following you, man. I don't know what I'd do, man. I've seen videos where people are like, "Oh, this is the sun. Like, this is a sunset, right?" And they're pointing their camera at it, and then they go, "Well, what the hell is this?" And they turn around, and it looks like a sunset on the complete opposite side of the earth.
Yeah.
You know, something so huge and obviously wrong is happening, and you're trying to explain it in your mind, like moons that